Okay. Good afternoon, all of you. Today we are going to with the second section of the FDP, and the presenter of this session is Dr. Kajal S. Patel, ma'am. She is associate professor in VGEC Chandkheda. She is having more than 15 years of teaching experience and also having doctorate degree. So we are having great opportunity to learn concepts from her. So without wasting time, I am directly handing over to the presenter, Dr. Kajal S. Patel, ma'am. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, all. In today's session, I am going to discuss about a machine learning, or a category of machine learning algorithm, that is a regression algorithm. This is my presentation outline. I will start with the introduction, basic of machine learning. Then we are going to discuss about regression algorithm. In regression algorithm, we are going to discuss two types of algorithm. One is a simple linear regression algorithm and the other is the multivariate linear regression algorithm. And in simple linear regression algorithm, we are going to discuss two methods which could be used to learn. One is a least square estimator method and the other is the gradient descent method. So we'll discuss with these both methods. Apart from that, we are going to discuss how to measure the performance, means how to test whether our algorithm is learning well or not, right? So this is all about today's session. Okay, now we'll start with the definition of machine learning. So machine learning is a field of study that gives computer the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. Okay, up to this, whenever we are thinking about computer, then computer means what? It is programmed, right? If you want something, if you want your computer to do something, for that you have to write a program. But machine learning is a different way of programming. It is different than the traditional way of programming. In machine learning, a computer will learn from the past experience or the past data, and from the past data your computer will be learned, and that learning will be used to take future decision. Okay, so that is how machine learning program works. The other definition of machine learning is what? A computer program is said to learn from experience E. Experience E means what? The collection of past data from which your computer program is learning. Now, why your computer program is learning? So it is learning to perform a specific task. For example, let's say I want my computer program to predict temperature of next Monday. Okay, so in that case, my program has to use some past data, past temperature data. So that is the experience. Okay, so your computer program is said to learn from past experiences for performing a specific task T. Now, while learning, how can you decide, how can you say that the learning is going in right direction? So for that, we are measuring the performance of our learning algorithm, right? And your program is said to be learned perfectly if the performance of doing task T, which is measured by P, improve with experience, right? So that is the definition, the other definition of machine learning, that for performing a specific task, our program is learning from the past experiences or the past data related to that task. Okay, and while learning, for performing that specific task, to check whether learning is done properly or not, we are using some performance measure. Okay, so that is the definition of machine learning. Now, how your machine learning program is different than traditional program, right? So in traditional program, what we are doing, we are giving input to our program, and in program we are using some of the rule, and the program will apply rules on the data input which we are inputting, and the program will give you output. For example, if I want to multiply two numbers, then I can write a program using traditional programming way. Here in my program, I have to first I have to get two numbers. So my data is what? Two numbers, right? Rule is what? The multiplication expression. So let's say my two numbers are x and y. So in my program, I am writing c is equal to x into y. So that is the rule of doing multiplication. Okay. So I'm using that rule in my program, and then I'm printing the output. That is, I'm printing c. Okay. So that will be my output. So that is the traditional way of programming. In machine learning, the programming is different. In machine learning, you have to provide data along with the output to the program. The program will learn from that data. What it will learn? It will learn the relationship of data and output. For example, let's say I want to write a machine learning program which do multiplication, same program. So in traditionally what we are doing, we are getting the value of x, we are getting the value of y, then we are writing an expression c is equal to x into y, and then we are printing it, right? But if you are doing it in machine learning way, what we have to do? First, we have to collect a lot of data. We have to create a database. Now what that database should have? It should have two number and multiplication of that number. So the database has three columns. First column is the first number, x. Second column is y, and third column is x into y, right? So I have to provide a huge data set, a large data set in which I have to provide, let's say first record is 2, 5, and 10. Then 3, 6, 3, 6 are 18. Okay, so this is how a lot of data I have to provide. So in machine learning program, I have to provide data with output. That means if I am giving this to number, then this should be the output. So that is called a data set. Okay, so I have to provide data set to my program. Now what program will do? Program will learn. Program will learn from the data set. Okay, program will take first data point. Data point means what? Record. Will take first record and try to establish relationship between x, y, and c. Let's say third column is c. Okay. Then it takes second data point, third data point. Okay. So by studying data points, by studying the database, it will establish a relationship between x, y, and c. So program will give what? Rule. What is that rule? That c is equal to x into y. Clear? And then that rule will be used to get output from any unknown input. So that is what a machine learning program is, right? You are not writing the expression c is equal to x into y. That expression will be learned by your program based on the data and output. Clear? So that is the difference between machine learning programming and traditional computer programming. Okay, this is the structure, you can say the structure of any machine learning program. So machine learning program has two phases. One is training phase and the other is the inference or a prediction phase. In training phase, what your program will do? The program will take data set as an input and it will learn and give the expression. In our previous example, if you want your machine will learn based on the multiplication data, right? So from multiplication data, what your program will learn? It will learn that column C is equal to x into y. Okay, so model is what? The expression which is decided by your trainer, which is derived by your trainer from the data set. Okay, from the data set, the learning program or the trainer will find out the relationship between input variables and the output variable. So it will establish an expression of or a function of input variables which gives you output variable. Okay, so that function in our example, that function is what? C is equal to x into y. So that expression will be derived or it will be learned by this trainer. That is called the model. And using model, now by applying any input, you can get exact output. So here you are not writing any program. You are not writing a mathematical expression. That expression will be learned by your trainer by looking at or by processing or by analyzing the data which you are providing. That if this is the input, this should be the output. If this is the input, this should be the output. Okay, so you are having thousands of such possibilities, thousands of such data. Okay, and from those data, your trainer will derive a function, and using that function for any unknown input, now you can get the output. Okay, so what is training phase? Training phase is this. Getting the data set means using data set, your trainer will generate a model. So that is called the training phase. And then that model is used to predict something based on the input. So that is the inference. This is the inference or prediction phase, right? So this is how a machine learning program can be written. Okay, now what is data set? So as I have already told you that data set is having what? Input and output. Okay, again, data set is very important. Without data set, you cannot write any machine learning program. For machine learning programming, for writing a machine learning program, you should have a valid data set. Okay, so it is very important. Now, how can you represent data set? So here in this slide, I have shown you one equation or one formula using or one way of representing data set. So data is equal to xi, yi. Here xi is what? The input. So xi could be multiple. It could be x1, x2, x3. In our example for multiplication, our x are x1 and x2. We want we have two input, right? So xi is having two, x1 and x2. Yi is what? Output. Okay, so in our example, x1, x2 or x and y are the x1, x2 are the xi, that is the input data, and yi is what? Multiplication of them, that is c. Okay, so yi is the output and xi is the input. Yi is always exactly 1. Y hamesha, y will always be 1. There is only one y. But xi could be 1 or more. Okay, now how can you represent data set? So xi yi is one pair. Here I could be 1 to n. That means this data set has n number of record, starting from x1 y1 to xn yn. Okay, now the term which is used for x is feature set, right? In machine learning, the data or the input is called feature set and the output is called label. Okay, so xi is called feature set and yi is called label. Now here one example of data set is given in slide. This data set is for house price prediction. Okay, so if you want to predict price of house in, let's say, in 2020, what should be the price of this house? Okay, so if you want to predict, you have to first create a model. For creating a model, you have to use a data set, and then you have to input that data set to any machine learning program. That machine learning program or algorithm will give you a model, and then that model can be used to predict price of house in a specific year or with specific area in square feet. Okay, so what could be the features? So the xi could be number of rooms in house, area of house in square feet, location of the house, in which cities it is located. Okay, so this could be the attribute or the features of this data set. Okay, and from these all values, the price is derived. So the price is the label. Okay, so in this house price prediction data set, the features could be number of rooms, area of house, location of house, number of floor in house. Okay, so there could be so many features, and the price of house is label. Okay, so there is exactly one label. In any data set, label is always 1. Okay, now the features can be of two types. It could be numeric or category. Numeric feature means what? A feature which stores number as a value. For example, number of room. So a house can have 3 room, can 4 room, 5 room. Okay, so that is numeric. Now then area of house in square feet, that is also numeric. Location of house, so it is be Ahmedabad, it could be Surat, it could be Baroda. Okay, so that is not numeric. So that feature type is called categorical. Okay, so feature could either be numeric or category. Okay, and label. So it is always not necessary that your data set has label. Sometimes you have a data set. If you found a data set which doesn't have label, which has only input or which has only features, that could also be useful. Okay, in machine learning, the algorithm are classified based on the label in the data set. Okay, if algorithm is trained using a data set which has label, then those algorithms are called supervised machine learning programs or supervised machine learning algorithm. So if label is present in the data set, and if that data set is used to train, then the algorithm which are used are of which type? Supervised machine learning algorithm. Right? And if you have a data set in which label is not present, you are having only features. Okay, then that data set can also be used for learning. But for that data set, you have to use unsupervised machine learning algorithms. Okay, again, in supervised machine learning algorithm, based on the value of label, they are classified into two. If the label is integer or a numeric, then it is called regression algorithm. Continuous value, continuous number, then it's called regression algorithm. For example, house price, right? So house price is this type of label, continuous label. Same way temperature. If I want to predict temperature, then again I have to use regression algorithm. So regression algorithms are always used to predict real value. Okay, so in supervised machine learning algorithm, if a label is real number, then it is you have to use regression algorithm for training. If in supervised machine learning algorithm, the data set has a label discrete value, then you have to use classification algorithm. The example of discrete label are whether a email, okay, if I want to filter or if I want to incoming email is spam or not. Okay, so in that case, my label could be what? Yes or no, or spam or not spam. Okay, so that is discrete. So for that prediction, I have to use classification algorithm. But for predicting house price, for predicting temperature, for predicting price of stock, okay, we have to use regression algorithm, because for all those examples, your label is of continuous type. You have to predict a number, and in earlier case you have to predict the type, whether it is of this type or this type. Okay, so that is the classification algorithm. So this is how your machine learning algorithms are classified. Now in today's session we are going to learn about regression algorithm in detail. So now what exactly a regression algorithm is? So regression algorithm always establish a relationship between feature variable and target variable. For example, I have explained you multiplication example, find out multiplication of two number, right? So in that example, we have to use regression algorithm, and what your regression algorithm will do, it will find out a relationship between x and y. So it gives a function c is equal to x into y. So that is a relationship between input variable which gives a target variable. Target variable is nothing but a label or output, right? So in regression algorithm always gives you a function, and that function accepts feature variables, and it gives predicted output, or it gives target variable. Okay, so that is regression algorithm. As I have told you that regression algorithms are always used to predict real valued output. In regression, training is iterative, means one by one iteration is run for training. Okay, it is iteratively. Now how the function will be find out, right? So the function will iteratively find out in such a way that the measure of error in prediction is minimized. Okay, so initially it may possible a function x plus 1 is calculated, but if that function is having some error, then it will be refined like 2x plus 5. Okay, so this is how the coefficient of various term of the function will be refined by measuring the error. The coefficient are chosen in such a way that there is a minimum number of error in prediction while training. Okay, the data set is also called the training set. These are the various symbols which we are going to use in our further discussion. M is the total number of data points, that is total number of record in our data set. X are the input variables or feature variables, and they could be x1, x2 up to xn. N is the number of features. Y is output variable or a label or a target variable. X, I, yi, they are the ith data point. Okay, you are having total m data point. If you want to identify or if you want to identify a specific data point, you can identify it like this: x, I, y, I. Okay, and h is a hypothesis, or you can say that h is a function. Okay, h is a hypothesis, which is a function which accepts features and produce label or a target variable. So x is a feature and y is the label. So h is a function of x and it gives value of y. Clear? Okay. Now this is the diagram of regression algorithm. You can say it a block diagram. So in this regression algorithm, you have to provide a data set to learning algorithm, and the learning algorithm will give you a model. But here in case of regression, it will give what? A hypothesis function h of x. Okay, so from the data set, based on the relationship among feature variable and label, it will derive a function. This learning algorithm will derive a function, and that function is a model, is h in case of regression algorithm. Okay, and then that function is used to predict target variable or a label for a specific feature set, right? Okay, now we'll start with the simple linear regression. Simple linear regression is also called univariate regression. Univariate regression means what? It has only single variable or a single feature. So if I have a data set in which I have only one feature, then single linear regression can be used for training. Okay. Now here I have shown you one example of data set. It is a data set of house price prediction. Here only size of house is used to predict the price. So there is only one feature, that is the size of house in square feet. Okay, and our label is price. So simple linear regression means what? The algorithm which is used to predict real value. Your data set has only one feature. Okay, now what will be my hypothesis? So hypothesis function is always a linear equation of x. Okay, so h theta x is equal to theta 0 plus theta 1 x. So this is a linear equation of x. Now here, what will done in learning? So while training, the value of theta 0 and theta 1 will be calculated by the algorithm, and you will get this function. And then this function will be used to predict y based on some unknown input x. Clear? So this is the model, or this is the hypothesis of simple linear regression. But while learning from the data set, theta 0 and theta 1 will be calculated. Clear? Okay, so simple linear regression has a hypothesis function this. Here theta 0 and theta 1 are called parameters. And what is the goal of our learning algorithm or our linear regression algorithm? So the goal is to find out the best value of the parameter theta 0 and theta 1 such that the error is minimized. Now what is error? Error is what? The difference between actual y and the predicted y. How y is predicted? By applying x into this equation. You will get predicted value of y. In data set, you have actual y. So if there is the difference between predicted y and actual y is very large, then you cannot use those theta values, right? So our goal is to find out the value of theta 0 and theta 1 such that it minimizes the error for our training data set. See, in data set, we have all pairs. We have pairs of x and y, right? Now we are assigning values to theta 0 and theta 1 and try to find out the predicted y and match it with the actual y which is there in the training data set, right? If the difference is very nominal, very less, that means what? Your theta 0 and theta 1 are correct one. They are correctly estimated. You have to change the value of theta 0 and theta 1 until you find out theta 0 and theta 1 for which the error is minimum. Okay, so that is what a training in simple linear regression. Okay, now here in this slide, one example is given. Here I have plot y versus x. Okay, this is y-axis, this is x-axis. Now, our data set is having only 5 data points. So these blue points are our training set. So for x, if x is equal to 1, y is 1 in our data set. For x is equal to 2, y is 2 in our data set. For x is equal to 3, y is 1.25 in our data set. For 4, y is 3.75. For x is equal to 5, 2.25. Right? This is in our data set. Now, if we estimate theta 0.5 and theta 1.5, then our hypothesis function will be what? 0.5 plus 0.5x. So, if we are using this theta 0 and theta 1 for calculating error, what we have to do? We have to give various x values in this equation, and we'll find out the predicted value of y, and then we are finding out difference between this and the actual y, right? So for x is equal to 1, h theta x is what? 0.5 plus 0.5 into 1. So that is equal to 1. So there is no error for x is equal to 1. For x is equal to 2, h theta x is equal to 2. But our data set has 2. So this is the error in x is equal to 2. For x is equal to 3, the actual value is 1.25, but the predicted value is 2. Right? So this is the error. For x is equal to 4, this is the predicted value h theta x, and this is the real value. So there is a, for x is equal to 5, this is the actual value of y, but this is the predicted value. Okay, so there is an error. So this, you can say that this is not the correct estimation of theta 0 and theta 1 because you are having large amount of error, right? So you have to do what? You have to change the value of theta 0 and theta 1 and try to find out another line. It could be this line or this line. Okay, so you have to try with different line, and you have to finalize the value of theta 0 and theta 1 for which this sum of these all error is minimum. So that is what a simple linear regression is. Now, so this is one example. Okay, here what I have told you that you have to try an error. You have to try different value of theta 0 and theta 1, and each time you have to find out sum of the error, and you have to choose the theta 0 and theta 1 for which the error is minimum, right? So how to find out, or what are the proper way to calculate the value of theta 0 or to estimate the value of theta 0 and theta 1? Okay, so in statistics, we are having two methods. We have two techniques to find out the value of theta 0 and theta 1. One is called least square estimator. So this is one way of calculating theta 0 and theta 1. Now how it will calculate theta 0 and theta 1? So I'll show you in next slides. In least square estimator, for calculating the cost, sum of squared residual is used, right? So for least square estimator, our cost function is what? Sum of square error. Error is what? The difference between predicted value and the real value. Okay, that is our error, right? H theta x minus y. H theta x means what? Predicted value. And y means what? The real output, which is there in the data set for that x, right? So this is our error function. Okay, now what we have to do? For each data point, I have to find out the error and do sum of that, right? But here, there are chances of negative error. So to avoid that negative values, they have did what? Square of error. And then they have done sum of it. So for least square estimator, the cost function is what? Sum of squared residual. Residual is nothing but the error. Okay. So sum of square of error is used as a cost function in list. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, you are.
Oh, okay. So sum of squared residual is this function is used as a cost function. Now why cost function is calculated here? Because we want to find out theta 0 and theta 1 such that this cost function is minimum, right? So we want to minimize this cost function for finding out theta 0 and theta 1. Now we have substituted the h theta xi. So what is h theta xi? It is equal to theta 0 plus xi theta 1. So we are putting that in this equation. So we'll get this equation. So this is our cost function. Okay, that is a function of theta 0 and theta 1. All other values are known. We have a data set. So you can find out all xi, yi pairs in the data set, right? So the unknown values are theta 0 and theta 1. So we have to find out the theta 0 and theta 1 for which this cost function is minimum. So that is our goal. Now, how least square estimator will find out theta 0 and theta 1, right? So in least square estimator, to find out the theta 0 and theta 1, for which cost function is minimum, they use partial derivative. Okay, so what they have did partial derivative of cost function with respect to theta 0 and again partial derivative of cost function with respect to theta 1 and assign them to 0. Okay, so our cost function is what? This is our cost function, right? So if you do partial derivative of cost function with respect to theta 0, you will have what? 2 into our function, because in our function we are having square of this. So if we are doing partial derivative of this with respect to theta 0, you have to put 2 into your function. Multiply with theta 0, partial derivative of theta 0 with theta 0 is 1, partial derivative of this 0, and this with respect to theta 0 is also 0. Okay, so you will get these as a partial derivative of cost function with respect to theta 0. Same way, partial derivative of cost function with theta 1. So for theta 1, you will get what? 2 into this cost function. Okay. Then multiply it with partial derivative of theta 0 with respect to theta 1. That is 0. Xi theta 1 with respect to theta 1 gives xi and yi gives 0. Okay, so you have to multiply this with xi. So these are the partial derivative of cost function with respect to theta 0 and theta 1. Now we have to assign them 0. Okay, so set partial derivative equal to 0. So we are setting this equation is equal to 0 and this equation equal to 0. Okay, so now finally what you got two equation with two unknown. Here xi yi are known, theta 0 and theta 1 is unknown, right? So you are getting two equation with two unknown. So if you are solving this equation, then you can find out the value of theta 0 and theta 1. Okay, so for solving the equation, what we have taken the first equation that okay of this. These are the two equations. So we have taken the first equation, and using first equation, we have calculated theta 0 is equal to theta 0 in term of theta 1, right? Now what we have did in this equation, that we have sigma theta 0 plus xi theta 1 minus yi, right? So we are separating each term. So that is equal to what? Sigma theta 0 plus theta 1 sigma xi minus sigma yi equal to 0. Now here theta 0 is constant. And if you are adding theta 0 m times, then you will get m into theta 0 plus theta 1 sigma xi. This is nothing but sum of all x in our data set. Minus sigma yi means what? Sum of all y in our data set equal to 0. Okay, now we want to find out theta 0 in term of theta 1. So we are moving this both term to right side. Okay, so this will be plus and this will be minus. So m theta 0 is equal to sigma yi minus theta 1 sigma xi, right? Then we are m will be, we are moving m to the right in denominator. So theta 0 is equal to sum of minus theta 1 sum of y upon m, sorry, sum of x upon m, right? So this is nothing but the average or the mean of y, and this is mean of x. Okay, so theta 0 is equal to mean of y, that is y bar minus theta 1 x bar. Okay, so this is how from the first equation we have calculated theta 0 in term of theta 1. Now in second equation, what we are doing now, in second equation we are replacing theta 0 with this equation, right? So this is our second equation, and in second equation we are substituting value of theta 0 which we have calculated earlier from the equation 1, right? So if we are substituting value of theta 0 in this equation, you will get a equation in which theta 1 is unknown. All other terms are known. So you can easily find out the equation for theta 1, right? So theta 1 is equal to what? Sigma x minus x bar, y minus y bar upon sigma x minus x bar square. So this is nothing but the equation of covariance, x and y, covariance of x and y. And this is the covariance of x. Okay, so covariance is denoted by Sxy and this is Sxx. So theta 1 is equal to Sxy upon Sxx. So here using this equation, you can easily find out the value of theta 1 because from the data set, right? Because x is in the data set, x bar also you can find out from the data set, y is there in the data set, y bar you can from the data set by finding out average of all y of the data. So same way, these values, the values of data set can be used to find out the value of theta 1. And if you find out theta 1, using this equation, you can find out theta 0, right? So this is how least square estimator is used. If you are using least square estimator, use these two equations to estimate the value of theta 0 and theta 1. And once you find out theta 0 and theta 1, you can find out your hypothesis function, that is theta 0 plus theta 1 x. And once your hypothesis function is available, you can the simple linear regression using least square estimator, right? So we have derived the equation. Now I'll show you how to find out the value of theta 0 and theta 1. So let's say this is our data set, X and Y. Okay, this is our data set. Our data set has only 5 records, 5 data points. Okay, now if you want to find out theta 1, what you have to do? First, you have to find out X bar. So this is our X mean or X bar. This is our Y mean or Y bar. That is nothing but the average. Y bar is nothing but the value. X bar is nothing but the average of these 5 values, right? Then after you have to find out X minus X bar. Sorry, yes, X minus X bar. So this column is X minus X bar. So 3 minus 1, sorry, 1 minus 3 minus 2, then 2 minus 3 minus 1. Okay, so likewise you are getting the value of X minus X mean. Then you have to find out Y minus Y mean. So this is our Y mean and these are our Y. So Y minus Y mean is this column. Okay. Then you have to find out SXY. That is nothing but the multiplication of these two columns, X minus X mean into Y minus Y mean. Okay, so for each record we have calculated X minus X mean into Y minus Y mean, right? Then we have to do sum of them. So that is 28. So 28 is nothing but SXY in our equation of theta 1. Okay, then SXX is equal to what? X minus X means square, right? So we have to find out square of this column. So that is equal to SXX. Then we have to do sum of them. So that is sigma X minus X means square. Okay. Now what we have to do? We have to calculate theta 1. So theta 1 is equal to SXY upon SXX. So that is 28 upon 10. So 2.8. So we have calculated the value of theta 1 from the data set. Now theta 0 is equal to what? Y mean, sorry. Yes, Y mean minus theta 1 into X mean. So Y mean is 14.6. Theta 1 is equal to 2.8. We have calculated here. And this is X mean. So this will give theta 0 is equal to 6.2. So your simple linear regression hypothesis is what? 2.8x plus 6.2. Right? So this is how your learning algorithm will find out the hypothesis function. The same thing will be done in your learning or in your trainer. And your trainer will gives you what? This hypothesis. Right? Now, let's say for x is equal to 10, I want to predict y. X is equal to 10 is not given in data set. But for x is equal to 10, if I want to predict value of y, what I have to use? I have to use this hypothesis. I have to put 10 over here. Right? So I'll get 28 plus 6.2. Right? So that will be what? 34.2. Right? So for x is equal to 10, the predicted value, you can predict the value of y, that is 34.2. Right? So this is how your hypothesis can be used to tell the value of y for unknown x. Matlab the x which are not in the data set. That is what a prediction is. If you know temperature up to last day, using those temperature values, you can predict days after 5 days or day after 5 days, right? So you can predict future value by knowing a lot of past values. Clear? Okay, now while discussing definition of machine learning, what I have told you that while learning, to check whether our learning is done correctly or not, what we have to do? we have to use various performance metrics, or we have to measure the performance, right? So in regression algorithm, for measuring the performance, two metrics are used. One is a root mean square error, and the other is R2 error, right? So root mean square error is a metric which could be used to measure the performance of your regression model. Okay, it is used to check whether in case of linear regression, in case of simple linear regression, your hypothesis is nothing but a line equation, right? So this is nothing but a equation of line. Okay, so it is used to check how well your regression line fits the data point. Means it will try to find out the error. Okay, now what is root mean square error? So first we have to find out square of error. So this is the sum of square of error. Then you have to divide it with m. So that is mean square error. Then we have to find out square root of it. So that is root mean square error. Okay, for good algorithm, means you can say that your learning is better if this root mean square error value is less. Okay, now the second metric is called R2 error. It is also called coefficient of determination, and it is a normalized version of mean square or root mean square error. Normalized version means what? R2, the value of R2 is always between 0 and 1. Okay, and the equation for calculating R2 is what? 1 minus square of error, sum of square error, divided by SYY, that is covariance of y. Okay, and this value is always in between 0 and 1. And the algorithm is better, or the learning is better, if the value of R2 is higher or larger. Okay, so the value of R2 should be large, but the value of RMSE should be less for better performance, right? Now we are moving back to our example. See, in this example, we find out the hypothesis. Now, how can you say that your algorithm is good? So for that, you can measure the performance metric. You can find out the performance metric, that is RMSE and R2. Okay, so what is RMSE? So for finding out RMSE, first you have to find out error. How can you find out error? So you have these hypotheses. Using this function, put different values of x. First you put x in this equation. You will find out h theta 1. That is your predicted value of y. Same way, by putting x is equal to 2, you will get 11.8. For putting x is equal to 3, you will get some value. By putting x is equal to 4, you will get this, and for 5, this. Okay, so this is the predicted value of y, and this is the actual value of y. Now you have to calculate the error. That is nothing but the difference between these two. So predicted minus actual. So these are the error. Now you have to find out sum of square of error, right? So you have to do square of this. So that is this column, square of error. Now you have to do sum of them. So 10.8 is sigma h theta x minus y whole square, right? Then you have to find out mean. So you have to divide this with 5. Why 5? Because we are having 5 points in our data, right? This by 5. So you will get what? Mean square error. Okay. So 10.8 divided by 5 will give you mean square error. So that is this value. Now we want to find out root mean square error. So we have to find out square root of it. So that is root mean square error. So RMSE is square root of 2.60, right? Then for calculating R2, what is the equation? 1 minus sum of square error upon SYY, right? So sum of square error is given over here, that is 10.8. Now we have to find out y minus y mean square. So we have calculated y minus y mean in this column. So this is square of y minus y mean, and sum of them is equal to 89.2. So for calculating I2, we have to use 1 minus 10.8 upon 89.2. So that will give you, that gives you this number 0.87. Okay, so that is the R2. So here you can see that R2 is large and root mean square error is small. That means our hypothesis is better. Clear? So this is how you can estimate value of, or this is how you can find out the hypothesis using least square estimator method, and you can calculate the performance matrix. So this is all about least square estimator method. Okay. Now I'll show you implementation of the same thing in Python. For implementation, I have used Google Colab. Okay, so this is my program. Can you see the program?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So for implementing simple linear regression algorithm using least square estimator, this program is written, right? So we have to import two libraries. One is a NumPy and second is matplotlib.pyplot. NumPy is for what? NumPy is a library of Python which has various functions using which you can deal with array. Okay, so for using array and its function, I am importing this library NumPy. And for drawing graph in Python, matplotlib.pyplot is used. Okay, now forget about this thing. Now we'll start with our program. First, we have created an array X which has value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in it. Same data set I am using. The data set which I have shown you in slide. Okay, the same data set. This data set is used in this Python program also. Right? So our X are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and Y are 7, 14, 15, 18 and 19. Then I am storing the size of data set into N. So N is 5 in this case. Total number of data point in my data set is 5. Then to calculate the value of theta 1, first we have to calculate value of theta 1, right? So for calculating value of theta 1, we have to find out X mean and Y mean. So for that in NumPy, we have a mean function, and in mean function, we have to pass the array. So it will give you average of X or mean of X. So this is X bar. Okay, same way we have calculated Y bar by calling mean function by passing Y into it, right? Then we have to calculate SXY and SXX. Okay, so SXY is equal to what? X minus X mean into Y minus Y mean, and its sum. Sigma X minus X mean into Y minus Y mean. So we are using this function. First, what we are doing, we are applying this function X minus X mean. What this will do in Python? It will subtract X mean from each X. So this gives me a array. In that array, what is the value? Which values are stored? So X minus X mean. So X mean is subtracted from each X. Okay, same way we have calculated Y minus Y mean. So Y mean is subtracted from each value of Y. Then we are multiplying them. Now this multiplication is not matrix multiplication. One-to-one multiplication is done. first element of x is multiplied with the first element of y, second element with second x element with second y element. Likewise, multiplication is done, and then we are doing sum of them. So that is Sxy. Same way, we are calculating Sxx, that is x minus x mean square. So x minus x mean into x minus x mean and sum. So this will give Sxx, right? Now we have Sxy and Sxx, so we can easily calculate the value of theta 1. So here I give name B1. Okay, that is theta 1. And then if you know theta 1, you can find out value of theta 0 also. That is what the equation you already know, y bar minus theta 1 x bar. So you know all the value. So you can easily find out B1, B0, right? Then we are printing the value of theta 0 and theta 1. Okay, so we have a hypothesis. We know theta 1, we know theta 2. So this will be our hypothesis, right? Now if we put value of x in this hypothesis, you will get the predicted value of y. So y predict is equal to b1 into x plus b0 will give you what? Predicted value of y, right? Now we have a y predicted, we have actual y, we have x. So what we are doing now next? We are plotting them. We are plotting x and y and x and y predict. Okay, so x, y are the actual data in the data set, and x and y predict will give you what? The predicted line. Okay. Then we have, yes. So after plotting them, now I want to find out the performance parameter, that is root mean square error and R2. Okay. So for that I have to first calculate the error. So error is equal to what? The difference prediction minus actual. So we have calculated that difference. Then we want to find out sum of square error. So we are doing square of sum. Here double star is it is same as power function of C. Single star is used for multiplication. In Python, double star is a power operator. So this will calculate error ratio square, right? So we are finding out sum of a square of error, and then we are doing sum of it. Okay, so that is the sum of square of error. Then for finding out mean, we are dividing it with n. So this is mean square error. Now for finding out root mean square error, we are finding out square root of that. So that is root mean square error. And for calculating R2, first we have to calculate SYY, that is y minus y means square. Then 1 minus square error upon SYY gives you R2, right? So if we run this program, see here, we'll get theta 1 is equal to 2.8. That is the same value which I have shown you in the slide. Theta 0 is equal to 6.2. This is the plot. Here red dot are the actual actual y, and this green line is your predicted, your model. This is the predicted y. So here you can see that the error is very small. Okay, so this is your predicted line, or this is your hypothesis as a plot. Now the error. So if you recall the value of R2 which I have shown you in slide, it is 0.87. Here also you will get the same value because we are using the same data set, right? This is the mean square error and this is the root mean square error, which is same as the value which I have shown you in slide. Okay, so this is how you can do the programming in Python. Okay, so this is the Python program which shows implementation of simple linear regression using least square estimation. Now, the second method, yes. The second method for estimating the value of theta 0 and theta 1 is a gradient descent method. So same as least square estimator, this method also tries to find out the value of theta 0 and theta 1 such that cost is minimum, right? In least square estimator, square of error, sum of square of error is used as a cost function. In gradient descent, the cost function is different. Okay, here this is the cost function. Mean of sum of square error divided by 2 means half of mean of square error. This function is used as a cost function. This is our hypothesis that you already know. And what is our goal in gradient descent? Our goal is what? To minimize this cost function. Now our cost function is changed. Okay, it is a bit different than the least square estimator, right? Now what gradient descent will do? So gradient descent will, this algorithm performs iteratively. Okay, if you are using gradient descent method, then you have to start with any random value of theta 0 and theta 1. Okay, assign any value, 0, 1, 2, any value you can assign to theta 0 and theta 1. And then after each iteration, during each iteration, you have to change the value of theta 0 and theta 1 such that the cost is less compared to the previous iteration. Okay, and you have to repeat this thing. You have to repeat changing the value of theta 1 and theta 0 until you find out the minimum cost. Okay, when you find out minimum cost, you have to stop. That theta 0 and theta 1 is your answer, estimated values, right? So that is how gradient descent algorithm runs. Now, how to change the value of theta 0 and theta 1? So in gradient descent, for changing the value of theta 0 and theta 1, the equation which I have shown you in the slide, they are used. This is a simple linear regression, so we have only two theta 0 and theta 1. So for reducing value of theta 0, this equation is used. Theta 0 is equal to theta 0 minus alpha into partial derivative of cost with respect to theta 0. And theta 1 is equal to theta 1 minus alpha partial derivative of cost function with respect to theta 1. Okay, now here one new term is introduced, that is alpha. Now what is alpha? So alpha is called a learning rate, and it is used to control the increment in the value of theta, increment or decrement in theta value. If we are not using alpha, it may happen that the value of theta is increased or decreased in large step. Okay, so to reduce that step size, in gradient descent, learning rate, that is alpha, is used. Okay, now how this partial derivative helps you to find out the value of theta 0, for which your cost is minimum, right? So diagram, I will explain you how partial derivative helps you to reach to theta 0, which has a minimum cost, right? So in this slide, for simplicity, I am considering theta 0 only. Same could be applied on theta 1 also, right? Now, here in this slide, the graph which I have shown you, that is a cost versus theta graph. So on y-axis, cost, on x-axis, theta. So what this graph shows, for different value of theta, what will be the cost? So I have plotted. Okay, now what is the gradient descent algorithm? You have to start with any random value of theta 0. Let's say I have choose this theta 0. So for that theta 0, this is the cost. Okay. Now, if we draw tangent to this cost curve, tangent, so this is the tangent. So if we draw tangent to this curve, the slope of that tangent is nothing but this partial derivative for this theta 0. Okay. Now at this point, you can see the slope of tangent is negative, right? This slope is negative. So if you multiply negative slope with negative alpha, you will get a positive number. So in this case, your theta is increased. Okay. So if theta 0 is increased, you will get a value larger to this, means you are moving toward this direction, right? So let's say in second iteration, this is my theta 0. Again,
Excuse me,
what I, yes.
Ma'am, please try to conclude your session within 10 minutes and then we can have a question answer session.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this is how you are moving toward, after each iteration, you are moving toward the point at which cost is minimum, right? Now at this point, if you reaches to this point, so at this point, if you draw a tangent, then the slope is 0. Okay, so once you reach over here, there is no change in value of theta 0. So at that point, now if you further run the gradient descent algorithm, you will not get any changes in theta 0. Okay, so that is why we are using partial derivative. Then learning rate. So as I have told you that learning rate is used for what? To control the step size. If learning rate is very slow, then your algorithm will take a lot of time to reach to this point where the cost is minimum. And if the learning rate is very large, it may possible that your algorithm will algorithm will never converge. Converge means what? To find out the value of theta 0, cost is minimum. That is called the converge, right? So if alpha is very small, then it takes a lot of time to reach over here. If alpha is very large, it may possible that from this, you may find out new theta 0, which is over here. From here, you may find out new theta over here. So it may possible that you may never reach to the point where the cost is minimum, right? So that is why it is always advisable to try and error with the value of alpha. You can start with 0.001. If it takes a lot of time, more iteration, then you can change its value from 0.001 to 0.01. Again, if it takes a lot of time, you may try with this also. Okay. So you may choose the value of alpha by applying different values. And you have to choose the value of alpha for which it takes less number of time as well as less number of iteration to converge. So this is all about gradient descent with linear regression. Now, if I want to apply this gradient descent algorithm with linear regression, simple linear regression, then this is my cost function, this is my hypothesis, this is the equation which I have to use to modify the value of theta 0 and theta 1, right? So this is my cost function. So theta 0 is equal to theta 0 minus alpha into partial derivative of this cost function with respect to theta 0. Same way, partial derivative of, for theta 1, partial derivative of this cost function with respect to theta 1, right? So if you are doing partial derivative, you will finally find out these two equations. Theta 0 is equal to theta 0 minus alpha into this, and theta 1 is equal to theta 1 minus alpha into 1 upon m, sum of theta 0 plus, this is nothing but h theta x minus yi xi, and this is h theta x minus yi. Okay, so these two equations you have to use to implement or to find out the value of theta 0 and theta 1. Okay, so each time you have to change the value of theta 0 and theta 1. Each time you have to find out the cost, and you have to do repeatedly until you will find out no change in theta 0 and theta 1, right? So I'll show you implementation of this gradient descent in Python. Yes. So this is our data, the same data set. This is our X, this is our Y, this is M, that is the size of our data set. Initially, I have assumed theta 0 and theta 1 0. Okay, I have initialized theta 0 and theta 1 0, and I have created an array named theta, which has theta 0 and theta 1 in it, right? Then I have created a function, hypothesis. This function gives nothing but h theta x. This function, we have to pass theta in it, x in it. So what it calculates? It calculates theta 0 plus x into theta 1. So the value will be returned by this function. This function will calculate the cost. The cost in gradient descent, the cost function is what? 1 upon 2m into sum of h theta x minus y square. So the same function I have implemented in Python. You have to pass theta, x and y. So it returns the cost value. Okay. This is a gradient descent function, which is an iterative function. So what you have to provide to gradient descent? Theta. In first step, it is 0, 0 because we have initialized theta 0, 0. So first iteration mein kya hoga? This will be 0, 0. This is our data set. This is the epoch, that is the iteration, and we have to provide the value of alpha also, right? So in this function, in this gradient descent function, we have implemented the equation, which I have shown you in this slide. In each epoch, I have to find out theta 0 minus theta 0 into the equation alpha into 1 upon m, sum of h theta x into y minus y. Same way, theta 1 ka equation is written over here. And then we have to calculate the cost. So for that, I have used cost calculation function with new theta and xy. Okay, so I have to do this thing repeatedly. And then predict function. So predict function accepts theta, data set, number of iteration and alpha. And then it will call gradient descent function to apply gradient descent method to give a correct value of theta. Okay. And predict function, this is the function which is called first. This predict function, I have to pass initial value of theta, data set. I want 2000 iteration and my alpha is 0.01, right? So this predict function will call gradient descent. Gradient descent function will return the estimated value of theta, and using that estimated value of theta, I may calculate the predicted values, right? Program first. Then I have simply plot actual xy and xy predicted. Okay. So if I run this program, these are the value of theta 0 and theta 1 I have calculated. They are almost same as the value of theta 0 and theta 1 we have calculated using least square estimator, right? And this is the graph. This is my model, and these blue points are the actual value. And I have plotted a cost function also to show you how the value of cost is decreased. See, initially when theta 0, theta 1 both are 0, the cost is highest. Then after each iteration, the cost value is reduced. And after 2000 iteration, the minimum cost value is there. Okay, so at that point, the theta 0 and theta 1 are these values. Clear? So this is how gradient descent can be used. Now the multivariate regression. So multivariate regression is same as simple variate regression, but the difference is what? Instead of single feature, multiple features are used to predict the value of label. So instead of only size, number of room, number of floor, age of home, all could be used to predict the price value. Okay. And in multivariate regression, our hypothesis function is also different. In simple or a single variate regression, this is our hypothesis because only one feature is used. Here there are multiple features, so we have thetas, right? Now, for simplicity, we have converted our hypothesis into matrix equation. So we have created two vectors. One is x, which has x1, x2, x3 up to xn. So it has all features. We have a theta matrix, a theta vector, which has all theta value. And our h theta x is nothing but multiplication of transpose of theta into x. So if you are doing transpose of theta into x, you will get this equation, right? Now we don't have any feature name x0. So for simplicity, what we are doing, we are setting it to 1. Okay, so x0 is not a feature, but to convert our equation into matrix form, matrix multiplication form, we are using it and it is always 1. Okay, and what is our goal? Our goal is to find out the value of theta 0, theta 1 up to theta n such that this cost function is minimum. This is the same cost function we have used with gradient descent. But our goal is different. Instead of finding out only 2 theta, here we have to find out multiple thetas, right? And for that, we have to use this equation. They are same as the equation which are used with single variable regression algorithm, right? Theta 0 is equal to theta 0 minus alpha 1 upon m. So the same function we are using in previous case. Theta 3 is equal to theta 3 minus alpha upon, okay, same thing. Yahan pe you have to change the value of x accordingly. Okay, so this is how multivariate linear regression can be used. Can use gradient descent to estimate the value of theta 0, theta 1, theta 2 up to theta n. Clear? So this is all about today's presentation. If you have any doubt, you can ask.
Dear participants, if you are having any question, you may ask now. Hello. Participants, if you are having any question, you may ask now.
Good afternoon, madam.
Yes. Huh?
Actually, I have a simple question. Like, for any context, right? For any problem context, we have, let's say, we have different type of algorithm. So, which algorithm is and best suited for which type of problem? Do you have some rule for that?
See, if you are having a data set in which, after plotting those data set, if you find out that they are linearly related, means they are linearly dependent on the input variables are linearly dependent on output variable. In that case, it is better to use linear regression algorithm, right? If they are not linearly related, then you can use non-linear regression algorithm also. There are non-linear algorithm also. Again, the relationship among features is non-linear. You can use SVM algorithm also. Okay, so there are so many algorithms based on, after studying your data set, you have to choose which algorithm you can use for learning. Okay, and that thing will be discussed in tomorrow's session. There is a pre-processing lecture on pre-processing of your data, right? So while pre-processing data, you have to identify various characteristics of your features or the relationship among features. Okay, based on that, you have to choose the algorithm.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, should we assume that regression algorithm is only applicable for numerical data?
Yes, regression algorithm is always used to predict real values, numeric values.
Okay, ma'am.
Any other questions, please?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Ma'am, in univariate regression, we are using theta 0 plus theta 1 x. So we can assume that theta 0 is the intercept for the y-axis. So in
Yes.
multivariate regression, we do not have this kind of intercept, because from theta 0 onwards, we are using x0, x1, x2.
Yes.
So in multivariate, there is no intercept. Is it true?
No, there is an intercept. But see,
Okay.
if you are in multivariate regression, let's say there are two variables. So in that case, instead of line, you have a plane equation. Okay. So in that plane equation also you have an intercept, that is theta 0.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, so thank you very much, ma'am, for such a wonderful and worth-attending session. So we would like to end the session 2 here. And dear participant, we will begin our third session at 2:30 p.m. Thank you very much, ma'am, for the great session.
Thank you, sir.